All right, let's make our way to a nice, comfortable seated position. So come and sit up on a little bit of height, block, blanket, whatever works for you. Rooting down through the sitting bones, lengthening up through the crown of the head, letting the shoulders just relax. So we're sitting here with a neutral spine. So we want the curves in our spine, yeah, gentle arch in the lower back. And we're sitting here ideally without having to work hard to sit here. So when I say sit on height, you want to sit on enough height so that your pelvis can naturally tip forward so that you're not using your back muscles to support yourself here. All right. So I wanted to share a little anecdote from my own life before we start, and sort of a lesson that, or part of my practice that I've been working on for the last several years. And so I'm notoriously terrible at managing my calendar. And Zorik tells me all the time that I'm doing it so poorly. Anyways, and I made such a huge guffaw, scheduling guffaw, and I just had this like immediate shame response around it. I'm teaching a restorative yoga immersion starting on Thursday for 4 days in a row, all day for 4 days. It's a relatively big thing. You would think I'm aware of the fact that I'm teaching this. And I had put it in my calendar not in the right way. And then one of Mala's friends' moms messaged me and said, like, do you want to, like, let's take the girls to see Wicked this weekend. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Sounds great. And of course, I totally forget that I'm teaching this restorative yoga immersion and I make these plans to go see this movie with this mom. And then, like, 5 days later, not like later that day, like many, many days later, after she's bought the tickets, I wake up one day and I'm like, I can't go see Wicked this weekend. I'm teaching this whole course like all day, every day for 4 days, and it's not in my calendar. And what's wrong with me? And I couldn't believe that I had forgotten such a major thing. And I had already told Mala, she's really excited. And I made this big plan with the mom. And anyway, so then I have this like, oh, I'm so stupid. What's wrong with me? Why am I so bad at using my calendar? And so that's my initial response. Yeah, this like deep level of disappointment in myself and my failure to use my calendar properly, to forget such a major thing that I'm doing, that I've taken on, and to make this scheduling conflict. And anyways, so I sit with that for, I don't know, a few minutes to feel that, okay, I'm disappointed. I feel embarrassed, yeah, a level of embarrassment. And then I was relatively quickly, and this is the practice that I'm working on, to say, okay, how human of me to make a mistake. First of all, we all make mistakes. How human of me to be disappointed in myself. And how human of me to be embarrassed, because now I'm going to have to, you know, tell this mom that I, screwed up in a kind of major way. And that, like, I don't know her that well. It's not like a good friend of mine. And now I'm like, oh, I'm going to look, a certain way in her eyes, whatever. But how human of me to feel this way, to be disappointed in myself, to be embarrassed. And in that recognition, that feeling this way is really just part of being human. We soften, and I can offer myself then compassion for having made the mistake in the first place, and then also the reaction that I have to making the mistake. Yeah, because I will continue to make mistakes. We all will make mistakes. I'll probably make a million more calendar errors in my life. And so the problem is not the making the mistakes. The challenge is, how do we react when we make those mistakes? How much self-judgment do we put on ourselves? And so I'm not free from passing judgment on myself. I still do that, but I am now able to catch myself more quickly and to practice giving myself compassion for those feelings when they arise. because the feelings are also part of being human. And when I can recognize my own humanity and offer myself compassion, then it's so much easier to offer compassion to somebody else, real, true compassion to another person when they screw up. Yeah. And I think one of the things that is so challenging for us in the West is this self-compassion piece, this really deep honoring of being with our own personality quirks, if you will, or patterns that we fall into, and accepting ourselves as we are in the moment and just holding the space for ourselves to experience the challenges of living a human life. And so this is one of my wishes for all of us, yeah, that we practice, actively practice, and in the same way we do Trikonasana or any other yoga posture, that we actively practice offering ourselves that compassion when it's called for. And I would suggest that this is actually something we need to do like hundreds of times a day, not like once every 2 weeks. Yeah, but hundreds of times a day when we experience minor annoyances. Yeah, like we're stuck in traffic. Oh, how human of me to be annoyed right now. How human of me to feel irritated, or how human of me to whatever it is, yeah, that's coming up. When we notice there's an emotion arising and then we have a reaction to the emotion or the thought, to offer ourselves compassion in that moment instead of, using all of these things as another reason to berate ourselves for being human. All right, so let's go ahead and soften our gaze or close our eyes. And as we sit here, root down through the sitting bones, lengthen up through the crown of the head. And just letting the breath flow easily in and out through the nose. And if there's anything that's coming to mind right now for you that you need to offer yourself compassion for, feel free to do that now. How human of me. If it feels good to put a hand on your heart or your belly, you can do that as well. And see if you can just offer yourself some compassion the way you would offer to a good friend. How human of me to have these thoughts, these emotions, these challenges associated with living a human life. And remembering that our practice is not here as a mean to transcend our human experience, but to deepen our human experience. And then we'll go ahead and bring our hands together in front of our hearts. And we'll take a single Om here all together. Inhaling through the nose, exhale for nothing, and we'll inhale for Om. Om. Exhaling and releasing your hands, softening the muscles of your face and your forehead as you let your eyes open. And we will slowly make our way down onto our backs. So I didn't say this earlier, but you might want to have a yoga strap. Sarah, you probably don't need one. I'm just going to change my camera angle. All right, so come and lie down on your back. Yeah, that's it. All right, you can take your arms out to the sides a little bit away from your body and open your feet nice and wide. And we'll just start by windshield wipering the legs side to side. So massaging the sacrum down into the floor, breathing in and out through the nose. And just noticing, feeling this movement of the thigh bones and the hip sockets. Maybe the massaging of the sacrum down into your yoga mat. And letting the movement be as easy as possible. And then let's come back to center. Plant your feet about hip distance apart. And then pull the pubic bone up towards the belly button, rounding the lower back, pressing that down into the floor. And then sending the pubic bone through the legs and arching into the lower back. And we'll do that a few times, pulling the pubic bone up, rounding into the lower back, and then sending the pubic bone down towards the floor, arching into the lower back. And we'll do that a few times. Breathing in and out through the nose, and maybe noticing here when you pull the pubic bone up that there's a slight awakening that comes into the pelvic floor. And then the next time you pull the pubic bone up, we'll hold it there. So press the lower back down. And then on the exhalation, draw your deep abdominals down and in. So you're zipping up a tight pair of pants, engaging the deep abdominals. And then we'll float one leg towards a tabletop position and pause. We'll float the second leg towards a tabletop position and pause. Press the lower back down into the floor. Draw the belly down and in. And then you can go ahead and lift the arms up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale, lower one arm in the opposite leg, and inhale to lift. And exhale, lower other side, and inhale to lift. And we'll just alternate here side to side, really trying to press the lower back down into the floor as you do this. So we're trying to maintain that pressure of the lower back down, and we're trying to minimize any shifting side to side, left to right in the hips as we do this. The only thing moving is the moving arm and leg. The non-moving arm and leg is staying as still as possible. Good. Let's do two more on either side. Last one. And then you can slowly release the arms, release the legs, open the feet nice and wide, and we'll just windshield wiper side to side again. Yeah. And then let's come back to the center. So feet about hip distance apart. And then hug your right leg in towards your chest. You can hold behind your knee. And then straighten your left leg out along the floor. Flex your right ankle, or your left ankle, sorry. So your left thigh is pressing down towards the floor. The toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. There might be a little bit of sensation at the front of that left hip, maybe a little bit of a stretch there. And then as you hug that leg in, we're going to straighten the right leg and point the toes. And then you're going to bend the knee and flex the ankle. And you're going to straighten and point and bend and flex. And we're going to do this with a little bit of speed. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Straighten and point, bend and flex. And we want to try to get the leg as straight as we can, and then as bent as we can, pointing as much as we can, and flexing as much as we can. So moving the knee and the ankle through a full range of motion. And then let's release the leg, take the arms to the floor, but keep doing this movement with the knee and the ankle. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Okay, now we're going to change the movement at the ankle. So we're going to straighten and flex, and then bend and point. Straighten and flex, bend and point. That's it. And as you straighten and flex, there might be a little bit more sensation in the back of the leg. Keep going. Straighten and flex, bend and point, straighten and flex, bend and point. All right, and then we're going to straighten that leg out on the floor beside the left and just let the leg be heavy, let the hip be heavy. You can go send your awareness into the hip and the thigh and just see what sensation is there. How does it feel? And then we're going to hug the left leg in. So hold behind the left thigh. Pull that left thigh towards your chest. Flex your right ankle. Press your right thigh down towards the floor. And then we're going to straighten and point the left leg and bend and flex. Straighten and point, bend and flex. And we're going to do this several times. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Even with a little bit of speed, trying to get the leg as straight as you can and then as bent as you can. Keep going. You can release the leg, take the arms to the side. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Good. Keep going. Straighten and point, bend and flex. Breathing in and out through the nose. Okay, now we're going to change the movement at the ankle. So straighten and flex, bend and point, straighten and flex, bend and point, and try to get the leg as straight as you can and as bent as you can. And this might create more sensation in the back of the leg. Yeah, there might be more sensation of stretch with that ankle flexed. As long as there's no shooting pain or numbness or tingling, then sensation is fine. Let's do two more. Last two. Straighten and flex, bend and point, straighten and flex, bend and point, and then go ahead and relax that leg on the floor. And then see if you can drop your awareness into that left hip and the thigh and just notice whatever sensation is there. Be present. Grounding yourself in the sensation. And then we're going to bend the right knee in towards the chest again. Now, this is where you might want your strap. You do not need to use a strap, but you might want the strap. We're going to straighten the right leg up towards the ceiling. You could take your strap around the foot. If you're not using the strap, you don't hold the leg with your hands. You're just going to hold the leg straight up. Yeah. Okay. That's it, Sarah. Okay. Now, make your left leg active. So we want to really try to anchor that left hip into the floor. The left side of the abdominals are going to engage here a little bit. Hold the strap. If you're using the strap, you're going to hold the strap now with the right hand. You can take your left hand onto your left hip. And we're going to start to take the right leg out to the right side. Don't let the left hip move. So the leg isn't going to come all the way to the floor, because if you came all the way to the floor, then the left hip would have to lift. So it's going to be off the floor, some amount. In every person's body, it's going to be different how much. But you try to anchor that left hip, take the right leg out to the side, and then you're going to circle that right leg back down so it's beside the left on the floor. So if you're holding the strap, you'll just kind of let go of the strap and then circle the leg back down and let it rest on the floor beside the left. Good. And then again, just go into the hip and the leg and notice what's there in your body. What's the sensation? And then we're going to do that one more time. So bend the right knee in towards the chest, straighten the leg up towards the ceiling. If you tried with the strap, maybe this time try without the strap and just see how it feels. Arms down by the sides. Of course, if you want to use the strap, you still have it. Left hand on the left hip. Keep that left hip heavy. Straighten the right leg up towards the ceiling. Try to get the leg as straight as you can. It does not need to be vertical. Okay, so it could be further away from you. And then we're going to try to take that right leg out to the right side. Keep the left hip heavy and hold it there. Hold it there. One more breath. And then circle that right leg back down on the floor so it's beside the left. And relax. And go into the right hip. Feel whatever sensation is there for you. In the hip, in the thigh, the leg. One more breath here. And then we're going to switch sides. So bend the left knee in towards the chest and then start to straighten the left leg up towards the ceiling. Now you can use the strap around the left foot. Keep that right leg active and heavy. Right hip presses down into the floor. And then either using the strap or not. So if you're using the strap, you're holding the strap with the left hand. We're going to start to take the leg out to the left side. Try not to let the right hip lift. If you take the leg too fast or too far, the right hip is going to lift. So we try not to let that hip lift. So we go nice and slow and controlled, and we only go as far as we can. And then we're going to hold the leg there out to the side. And hopefully you have enough space around you. You're not too close to a wall or furniture. And then you're going to release the strap if you're holding it. You're going to circle that leg back down so it's on the floor beside the right. And then go into the hip. See if you can drop your awareness right into the hip, the thigh, the leg, and just feel what's there. And then we're going to do that one more time. Left knee to the chest. Straighten the left leg up towards the ceiling. That's it. And then start to open the left leg out to the side. Try not to let the right hip lift. Hold it there. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then circle that leg back down beside the right on the floor. And pause and breathe. And then when you're ready, we're going to roll over to the side. So you can roll to whatever side feels better for you. I'm rolling to my right. It doesn't matter. You could come to your right or your left. And then you could prop your head up on your hand, or you could let your head rest on your arm, whatever you prefer. We're going to bend the knees. Check that you have a neutral spine. So we want to have a bit of an arch in the lower back. This top hip, we're going to try to roll forward slightly. And then maybe the feet lift off the floor, maybe not. I lift my feet because I find that helps me access the work in the glutes a little bit more, but you can try either way. Every person is a bit different, so you see what works best for you. And then we're going to try to lift the knee and lower and lift and lower. And when we do this, we're trying to keep the pelvis still and just rotate the thigh bone. So it's just an external rotation of the thigh bone and the hip socket. So sometimes I put my hand at the back of my pelvis to make sure that the pelvis isn't moving as I lift the knee. And what we're feeling, what we're looking for, the sensation we're looking for is a sensation of engagement or shortening or firming in the muscles here in your upper outer hip. These muscles. So sometimes I also place my hand there to just see if I can feel the muscles underneath firming or getting shorter. Good. Okay, now the next time we lift the knee, let's keep it lifted. We're going to lift the foot up above the knee. And now we're going to go knee down and then heel down. Knee down, heel down. And again, the pelvis isn't moving. We're just moving the thigh bone, rotating the thigh bone in the hip socket. Breathing in and out through the nose. It's like you're turning a key in the door. The door doesn't move, just the key moves. That's it. Okay, 2 more like this. Hopefully you're feeling those glutes. All right, and then relax, release, pat it out. Nice. All right, and then we're going to roll over to the other side. So stack your knees, stack your hips, bend them in. A head can either rest on the arm or be propped up on the hand, your choice. Neutral spine. Roll that top hip slightly forwards. Exhale, engaging pelvic floor, deep abdominals, maybe feet lift, maybe not, your choice. And then the knee lifts and lowers and lifts and lowers. And we're trying again not to move the pelvis, to just rotate the thigh bone in the hip socket. Exactly. You got it. If you ever have any knee discomfort, often one of the major causes of knee pain is actually an inability for the muscle we're working on here to fire adequately. So when this muscle is weak, we get way more pressure into the knees when we walk and run. So this is like an important muscle for healthy knees. Who doesn't want healthy knees? Yeah. Especially as we're getting older. All right, 3 more. All right. Keep the knee lifted and then lift the foot up above the knee. And then we go knee down, heel down, knee down, heel down. Rotate that thigh bone in and out in the pelvis. Yes. All right, keep going. 3 more. You might notice one side feels stronger than the other. That's just interesting, yeah, to notice those things. Last one. Okay, relax, release, pat it out. And then let's make our way up onto our hands and our knees. Now, if your knees are sensitive, please feel free to pad your knees with a blanket or something, or if your mat is thick enough, then you might not need to, your choice. We're just going to start right away. We're going to work into some cat and cow. So pull the pubic bone up towards the belly button, rounding into the lower, into the mid, into the upper back, release the head. And then send the pubic bone through the thighs, arching into the lower, into the mid, into the upper back, head lifts last. And we'll do a few more of those, just nice and slow, trying to really feel and distribute the movement across as many vertebrae as possible. Breathing in and out through the nose. All right, and then let's come to a neutral spine and pause there. So a gentle arch in the lower back. Exhale, engaging your pelvic floor, your deep abdominals. We're gonna reach that right arm out in front of us. Lift the right arm up so the thumb is pointing up towards the ceiling. Hand is higher than the elbow. And then we're gonna try to sweep that arm back behind you. Rotate through the shoulder and lift up towards the ceiling. And then rotate through the shoulder and sweep the arm to the front. Sweep the arm to the back, rotate and lift, and then rotate and sweep the arm to the front. Good. And we'll do one more like this. Try to keep that hand up above the elbow the whole time. The head is a natural extension of the spine. And then we'll take that right hand down. Now try to minimize any movement as you transfer the weight, and then the left arm lifts. Sweep the left arm back, rotate and lift, and then rotate, sweep the arm to the front. Sweep the arm to the back, rotate and lift. Rotate, sweep the arm to the front. Let's do 2 more. Hand up above the elbow the whole time. Activating all these sort of little teeny tiny shoulder muscles that are often weak in many of us. Take that hand back down to the floor, and then you can exhale, tuck the tail, inhale, stay. Exhale, hinge back towards your heels, about halfway. Inhale, stay. And imagine your breath can really stretch out your lower back there. Inhale, stretching out the lower back tissues. And then on the next exhalation, we're going to roll up the spine 1 vertebrae at a time into a high kneeling position. So just coming up here. Okay, we're going to inhale, hinge back with a neutral spine. And then exhale, tucking the tailbone, roll up the back 1 vertebrae at a time, sweep the arms up over the head. Head lifts, laps. Inhale when you get to the top. Draw the arms down into a W shape. Elbows move forwards, hands move back. Breastbone lifts to the ceiling. And then we'll exhale to release. Inhale to hinge. Exhale to tuck and roll. Inhale when you get to the top, lift the breastbone, lift the gaze, and exhale to release. Good. Let's do two more like that. Inhale to hinge, neutral spine. Exhale to tuck and roll. Inhale at the top and exhale to release. Good. Take your hands back down to the floor. Turn your hands in slightly. Take your hands wider than your shoulders and then turn them in slightly. And then tuck your toes under. We're going to exhale, round the spine, come into a deep cat. And then lift your hips straight up, come high up on your toes. Push your hands into the floor, send your chest towards your thighs. Keep your heels lifted. And then we're going to slowly start to lengthen the inner heel faster than the outer heel towards the floor. So that's going to take the feet into a slight pigeon-toed shape. So the heels are just slightly wider than the toes. Keep pushing the hands into the floor, send the chest towards the thighs. The heels do not need to reach the floor. We're just lengthening them in that direction. And then notice where you feel sensation in your body. Into the calves, maybe into the hamstrings, maybe the shoulders are working here. For me, when I do my downward dog like this, really focusing on lengthening the inner heel, I get much more into the calf muscle, which I find can be more challenging for us to lengthen. And then we're going to bend the knees deep, look towards the hands, and then step or walk the feet forwards. Inhale, peel the chest open, neutral spine. And then exhale, fold over your thighs. Keep your legs straight. Release your head towards the floor. Hands can be on the floor or your blocks. Draw your lower ribs in towards the back of your body. So almost like you're doing a little crunchy there. Engage your abdominals. Release your head. Opening up the backs of the legs. Yeah. Nice, Sarah. And then we're going to inhale. Spread the toes. Inner arches of the feet lift away from the floor. Legs are nice and strong. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Arms lift, chest lifts, lengthen, look up. And then exhale. Bring the arms down through center. Coming into Samastitihi. We'll pause here. Hands can be in prayer in front of the heart, or they could rest on the chest or the belly, whatever feels better for you. We'll just take a few breaths. And offering yourself, even right here, right now, compassion. And recognizing that there are countless opportunities for us to be more compassionate with ourselves. How human of me to feel this way. How human of me to find myself reacting yet again to this stimulus. And then when you're ready, we'll go ahead, release the arms, open the eyes. Inhale, we're going to float the arms up. Exhale, hinge and fold over the thighs. See if you can keep your knees straight. Draw your ribs in a little bit. Release the head to the floor. Inhale, peel the chest open. Neutral spine. Exhale, let's step the left foot back. Keep the right foot forwards. Come down onto that right knee. Again, you might want to pad the knee if the knee is at all sensitive. And then inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up. Come into a low lunge. Try to drag that left hip forwards. Draw the belly back. So we're looking for some sensation at the front of the left hip. And then you're going to hold your left wrist, lift it up, and take it over towards the right. Creating some more space in that left side of the rib cage. Breathing there. And then inhale, come back to center. Release the wrist, lift the arms, inhale. Exhale, we're going to zip everything in through the abdominals and twist to the right towards that front leg. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, zip it all in, twist to the front leg. Inhale, come back to center. One more time. Exhale, zip it in, twist to the right leg. You can take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, palm to the outside of the knee, bend the right elbow. And then on the inhalation, we press the hand into the knee and we deepen the twist. And we exhale to release. And we inhale to deepen the twist. And exhale to release. And one more. Inhale, deepen the twist. And then exhale, release. Take the hands down by the sides. Inhale, we're going to float the arms up. And then exhale, take the hands down to the floor or the blocks on either side of your front foot. And we're going to just hinge forwards and back. Good. Now, as you hinge back, try to keep the toes on the floor. As you hinge forwards, keep the heel on the floor. So toes down, heel down. And then you can even do this with a little bit of speed. So try to challenge the elasticity at the knee and the ankle. That's it. And then we can use the right hand and pull the skin on the top of the foot forwards as you hinge back. Pull the skin forwards. Pull the skin forwards. And then we'll come back to center. If you're using the blocks, you might take them to a higher height. Inch the foot a little further forwards. Flex the ankle, press the heel down, draw the sitting bone back. Keep the knee bent. And then we rotate the thigh bone in the hip socket, in and out. Keep the knee bent, toes point up to the ceiling. And we try to keep the pelvis still and just rotate the thigh bone in the hip socket. So just like the clamshell, although it's most likely producing a very different sensation in the body. So just notice it. Be with the sensations. Notice when we have thoughts about the sensations. Yeah, I like this, I don't like this. How often, how quickly we're passing judgments on practically everything all the time. All right, and then we're going to sweep that foot side to side. So now it's more like a windshield wiper action. All right. And then come back to center. Bring that foot in so the ankle is below the knee. Okay, you stay where you are. I'm just going to turn around so I can see you when you do this. You stay there. You stay there. Okay. Okay, don't move. I'm going to do, actually, I'll just do my left leg. Okay, tuck your left toes under. Start to straighten out your left leg. And then your right hand can be on the floor or the block. I want you to actively push the leg into the arm to take your left heel to the floor. Left toes point forward slightly. And then we're going to lead with the left arm, straighten the right leg as we come all the way up to standing and take a reverse Trikonasana shape. And then exhale there at the back. And then we'll inhale to come up and over. We're going to try to drop that right hip back and reach forwards. Lengthen the sides of the waist. Now rotate through the rib cage. That's it. And then those right fingertips can come down to the shin, the thigh, the block, at whatever height works for you. Press the toes of that right foot down into the floor. Draw the hip back. Rotate through the rib cage. Maybe the left arm lifts towards the ceiling, maybe not. Your choice. Breathing there. Good. 2 more breaths here. And then on the next exhalation, we'll look down towards the floor. Come to the toes of the left foot. Take the hands to the floor or the blocks, your choice. And we'll step back to downward facing dog. Now lift your heels up high. Look at your hands for a moment. Make sure they're wider than your shoulders, a little bit wider than your shoulders and slightly turned in. Lift your heels high. Push your hands strongly into the floor. Send your chest towards your thighs. And then lengthen the inner heel down towards the floor. And maybe notice if there's a difference in how you feel in the right side versus the left side. And then let's inhale, shift forwards towards a plank position and pause. Tuck the tail, scoop the belly in, push the floor away. And then we're going to take the knees to the floor, untuck the toes, Exhale, hinge back towards the heels. Inhale, hinge forwards. Exhale, elbows bend any amount. Inhale to straighten and exhale to hinge back. And we'll just do this a few times. Generating this movement from the hips and taking some weight, how much is up to you, into the hands and the arms. Good. All right. Let's, next time we come forwards, come all the way down onto the belly. Point the toes, reach the arms out over the head. Lengthen through the sides of your waist. Squeeze your butt muscles. Inhale as you peel your chest open, lengthen, look forwards. Draw your hands back, and then try to find this W arm shape. Try to get those hands up above the elbows. That's it. Sweep the hands back by the hips, and then butterfly the arms forward. W arms. Sweep it back. Butterfly it forwards. Two more. W arms. Sweep it back. That's it. That looks great, Sarah. Butterfly forward. The last one. W arms. Squeeze those shoulder blades into the back. Butterfly forwards and release. You can give your hips a little sway side to side. Breathing there. And then we'll take the hands underneath the shoulders, press back through a puppy pose, tuck the toes under, and then up and back to downward dog. Lengthening the inner heel down towards the floor. Push the hands strongly into the floor, send the chest to the thighs. And then lift the heels up high. Let's lift the right leg up. We're going to keep the right leg straight. Open up the right hip so that the toes are pointing now towards the side wall. And then we're going to try to make big full circles with that right leg, but the leg stays straight. So we take it out and then drop it back down. Take it up, open the hip, take the whole leg out to the side, drop it down. Take it back. Now we're going to switch directions. So it comes straight down and then out to the side and then up and back. One more. Drop it down. Take it out to the side, around and back. Drop it down, bend the knee, step the foot forwards through the hands. And then we'll step the left foot forwards to meet the right. Inhale, lengthen neutral spine. And exhale, fold over the thighs. Draw the ribs in. Engage through the core. Release the head. And then let's inhale. Spread the toes. Inner arches here lifted away from the floor as we come all the way up to standing. Arms lift, chest lifts. Lengthen, look up. And right away, hinge and fold. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, stepping the right foot back. Left foot stays forwards. Come down onto the right knee. Point the right toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up. So we start in this low lunge. Try to drag that right hip forwards. Draw the belly back. And then hold the right wrist. Lift it up. Take it over to the left. Creating that expansion in the ribs. Breathing there. Inhale as you come back to center, release the wrist, lift, inhale. Exhale, zip it in through the abdominals, twist to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to twist. Inhale, come back to center. One more time. Exhale, twist and stay. Right palm to the outside of the left knee, bend the left elbow, and then inhale, press the hand into the knee, deepen the twist. Exhale, release. Inhale, deepen the twist. Exhale, release. And then one more time. Inhale, deepen the twist. Exhale, release. Hands by the sides. Inhale, float the arms up. And then exhale, take the hands down to the floor or the blocks on either side of the front foot. Sarah, you don't need the blocks. And we'll just hinge forwards and back. Hinge forwards and back. Toes down, heel down. Toes down, heel down. Even with a little bit of speed. Challenging that elasticity at the knee and the ankle. Good, keep going. I'm making my floor creak here, and it's reminding me that this morning, I'm just going to tell you this little story while we do this. You can take your hand and pull the skin on the top of the foot forwards now. So this creaky floor of mine in my 100-year-old house is reminding me that this morning Sam got up, and he's big enough now that he makes the floor creak. And he walked down the stairs and he sounded like not a 4-year-old. He sounded like, I don't know, a big kid making so much noise. All right, let's come back. If you're on the blocks, you might want them on a higher height. So you can take them higher, and we'll inch that foot a little further forwards. Flex the ankle, press the heel down, draw the sitting bones back. So what we're trying to do is create engagement in the hamstrings and tension at the same time. And then we rotate the thigh bone in the hip socket, in and out. We try to keep the pelvis still and just rotate the thigh bone. So Sarah, keep your ankle still also. Yeah, don't move at the ankle, just move the hip. So the foot doesn't need to reach the floor. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then for the next one, you move the ankle. Then we're going to windshield wiper the foot side to side. So then it brings in some movement at the ankle and the knee. That's it. And then we'll come back to center. Bring that foot in so the ankle is below the knee. If you're using a block, you can take it right beside the foot. We're going to press the left leg into the left arm, tuck the right toes under, straighten out that right leg, take the right heel to the floor. And then we're going to lead with the right arm and come all the way up and reverse into our triangle shape. So reverse Trikonasana, exhale there. And then we inhale to come up. Exhale, drop that left hip back. Let the right hip wrap forwards. Reach for the front of the mat. Rotate through the rib cage. And then the fingertips can find the block, the shin, the thigh, whatever is working for you on this side. And then maybe the right arm lifts. Good. Gaze is steady in one spot. Press the toes of that left foot into the mat. Draw the left hip back. Lengthen through the sides of the waist. 2 more breaths. And then we'll exhale, look down towards the floor. Can either have your hands on blocks or the floor, your choice. And then we'll step back, downward facing dog. Lift the heels up high. Press the hands into the floor and then lengthen through the inner heel towards the floor. And again, just notice how that feels in your body after all this work we've done. And then we can shift forwards towards a plank position and pause. And then either from the toes or the knees, your choice, we're going to slowly lower all the way to the belly. Come all the way down. Point the toes. Squeeze the butt. Keep the hands where they are. Inhale, peel the chest open, come into a baby cobra. You can hover the hands off the floor. And then squeeze the elbows in towards each other. Draw the hands back. Try to find the muscles in between the shoulder blades. And then we'll take the hands to the floor and pull yourself through your arms. Coming to a higher cobra, maybe to upward dog. And then we'll take the knees down, tuck the toes under, and lift up and back, downward facing dog. Push the hands into the floor. Inner heel lengthens down. And then let's lift the left leg up and back, coming into that 3-legged dog. Open up the left hip, keep the leg straight, take the leg out to the side, and then drop it down, circle it back and up. Open the hip, take the leg to the side, drop it down, circle it back and up. Switching directions, drop the leg down through center, take it out to the side, circle it back and up. Good, one more, drop it down, take it out to the side, circle it back and up. Drop the leg down, bend the knee, step the foot forwards through the hands. And then we'll step the right foot forwards to meet the left. Inhale, lengthen neutral spine. Exhale, fold forwards over the thighs. Draw the ribs in, engage through the abdominals. Spread your toes, lift the inner arches of your feet. And then inhale, strong legs, strong abdomen lifts you all the way up. Arms lift, chest lifts. Look up. And then we'll slowly release the arms, coming back to Samastitihi. Your hands can stay in front of the heart. They could rest on the chest or the belly. Soften the gaze, maybe close the eyes. And just coming back to the breath. Coming back to sensation in the body. And offering ourselves compassion for whatever we need right now. May I be kind to myself. May I accept myself as I am right now. And when you're ready, you can release the arms and open the eyes. Okay, we're going to do one last asana. So if you want to be close to the wall for balance, we're going to do a balance posture. You can be close to the wall. We're going to start by standing on our blocks. So I like to step one block in front of the other, although depending on the size of your foot, one block works as well. And then we're going to step the left foot onto the blocks and stand up. Spread the left toes. Left inner arch needs to engage. Left glutes are on. Pelvic floor, deep abdominals engaged. And then we're going to try to swing the right leg and the arms. Now, keep your gaze on the floor, somewhere out in front of you. So don't look at the screen while you do this. That's going to help you balance. And you could imagine you're like a gazelle bounding through the savannah. Breathing here. That's it. Keep going. So that right leg is really swinging with elastic energy. The left leg is working hard to stabilize. Okay, slow it down. And then we'll step off. You can release, shake it out, pat it out, and then we'll do the other side. So step the right foot onto the blocks. Spread the toes, inner arch, glutes, pelvic floor, deep abdominals. Swing. Gaze is steady. Breathing in and out through the nose. So you could have a hand on the wall here to help you balance. This is another great one for the knee if you ever have any challenges going on in the knee joint. All right, and then we'll slow it down and we'll step off. You can shake it out. We'll just put the blocks to the side. Okay, for the next one, you could use the strap. Okay, so just maybe have it close by if you think you might want it. Spread the left toes, inner arch, pelvic floor, deep abdominals, glutes. Without using your hands, let's lift the right knee to the chest. Lift it up as high as you can. And then we're going to either hold the front of the right shin with the right hand and then, lift the left arm up. And then either staying here, or you could take your big toe with your two first fingers and thumb, or you could take the strap around the foot as well. Okay, so your choice. If you have the toe or you're using the strap, you can go ahead and work on straightening the leg. Now, it's totally fine to straighten the leg, but not at the expense of the spine. So if we end up here, okay, I'd rather you stay here, okay, to keep the spine long. Okay, now on the next breath, wherever you are, we're going to take the arm and the leg open to the side. Try to keep that left hip pointing straight ahead. So just the right leg moves. Good. Gaze is steady. One more breath wherever you are. And then we'll come back to center. Lift the arm back up and over the head. Let go of the leg. Lift both arms up. And then if the knee's bent, let's try to straighten the leg, suck the thigh bone into the hip socket, and then release. Let the arms go and shake it out. All right, we're so lucky we only have two sides to our body. All right, spread the toes. Inner arch, pelvic floor, deep abdominals, glutes. Left knee to chest. Lift it up as high as you can. Right arm lifts to the ceiling. You can hold the front of the shin, the toe, or use the strap, your choice. If you're working the leg towards straight, you can go ahead and straighten the leg. Just check in with the spine. Gaze is steady in one spot. Really root down through that standing leg. Reach up through the fingertips, the crown of the head. Gaze is steady. Good, one more breath here. And then we'll open the arm and the leg to the side. Try to keep that right hip pointing straight ahead. Breathing here. Two more breaths. And then we'll come back to center, arm lifts overhead. We'll lift both arms overhead, straighten out the leg if the knee's bent, suck the thigh bone into the hip socket, and then release. Nice, shake it out, and let it go. And maybe close your eyes for a moment and shake like no one's watching. Let it go. All right. Let's come back to Samastitihi at the front of the mat. Inhale, float the arms up, and exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, stepping back, downward dog, plank, or a vinyasa of your choice. If you'd like to take a vinyasa, you can. You don't have to. And then we'll meet in downward dog. We're going to bend the knees, look to the hands, step walk, or float through to sitting. Plant the feet flat on the floor. Hold the backs of your thighs. Now, before you come down, just make sure your blanket is close by for under your head. If you're going to have something for under your knees, maybe make sure you have that also. And then let's pull on the back of the thighs, come to the front edge of the sitting bone, lift the breastbone, lift the gaze. And then exhale, start to scoop the belly in, rounding down the back, one vertebrae at a time. Slowly, slowly, with control, coming all the way down, releasing the head to the floor. Good. Let's bend the knees in. Just pause here for a moment. Maybe starting to close the eyes and just feeling the parts of the body in contact with the floor. Feeling that support of the floor, the earth beneath you. And letting go into it. This practice is about opening up and letting go. Opening up and letting go. All right. You can take your blanket for under your head if you have it. And then let's hug the knees into the chest. You can give yourself a little rock side to side. If you'd like to come into a happy baby, you can hold the outer edges of your feet, bend your knees down towards your armpits. And again, give yourself a little rock here, side to side. And if there's any final movements your body needs before Shavasana, then you could take those now. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly release the legs. If you're going to put something under your knees, go ahead, put something under your knees. Take your arms and legs down onto the floor. Let your whole body be heavy here. Let's inhale through the nose. And exhale, side out. Let it go. Again, inhale through the nose. Exhale, side out. Let it go. Opening up and letting go. And letting the body rest here in Shavasana and absorb the benefits of your practice. In a moment, I'm going to stop the recording, but I encourage you to stay here a little longer today if your life will allow. Thank you for sharing your practice with me, acknowledging all of our efforts together, and sending the benefits of our practice out to all the beings in the world. May all beings everywhere be happy and free from suffering. May our practice be a gift we give ourselves and the world together at the same time. And namaste.